Just sent you the link.
Yeah. Perfect. I'll share.
Ok. Buenas tardes a todos nuestros amigos de la comunidad académica de la Universidad Iberoamericana de República Dominicana y a todos aquellos interesados en este interesante encuentro del día de hoy. Tenemos con nosotros al académico, al doctor en arquitectura, Mauricio Carta. Mauricio, ¿cómo estás? How you doing, Mauricio?
Hi, Mia. Hi. Thank you so much for the invitation. How are you?
Fine. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And any Spanish words? Hola. Buenas noches.
Hola. Hola.
Es muy tarde para Mauricio ahora mismo, son cerca de las 11 de la noche en Italia y bueno, él ha accedido a compartir con nosotros de una forma muy especial, muy íntima sobre su parte de su experticio como profesional, como académico, que es todo lo tocante a frentes marinos en ciudades y nos quiere tratar un poco como caso de estudio un trabajo que hizo en Palermo. Yo le he pedido a Mauricio que lo disfrute, que pase un buen tiempo, que no sea una carga pesada para él ahora cerca de la medianoche en su casa, sino que sea todo un evento para disfrutar. Y para toda nuestra comunidad quiero compartirles un poco sobre el perfil de Mauricio, su perfil académico y profesional, y así todos estamos un poco más apercibidos de quién es Mauricio Carta. Aquí estoy buscando las notas. Vamos a ver, por aquí están. Mauricio Carta es doctor, arquitecto, catedrático de Urbanismo y Ordenación del Territorio del Departamento de Arquitectura de la Universidad de Palermo. Es senador académico, que es un título académico en Italia, y rector adjunto de Desarrollo Territorial y responsabilidad de la UNIPA. Es una institución del contexto italiano. En la Universitaria Sostenible de la CRUI, Conferencia de Rectores Italianos. Rector de la Escuela Politécnica de la misma Universidad de Palermo. Hasta octubre del 2015 fue coordinador de la licenciatura en Urbanismo, Ordenación Territorial y Paisajística y del MSc, del Master of Science en Ordenación Urbana y Regional. Es arquitecto y doctor en Urbanismo y Ordenación Territorial, experto en Ordenación Urbana y Regional, Planificación Estratégica y Desarrollo Local. Investiga y enseña sobre regeneración urbana, política de valorización del patrimonio cultural y planificación estratégica para el desarrollo sostenible. Fue Visiting Scholar de la Universidad de Columbia en Nueva York, en el Institut d'Urbanisme de París y en la London School of Economics, y fue profesor invitado y orador principal en varias universidades e instituciones de Milán, Roma, Florencia, Nápoli, Turín, Génova, Venecia, New York, Londres, París, Newcastle, Dortmund, Hannover, Tirana, Madrid, Praga, Pekín, Barcelona, Valencia, Sao Paulo, entre otros. De 2009 a 2011 fue concejal de la Municipalidad de Palermo para el Plan Estratégico y Regeneración del Casco Antiguo. Es miembro del Comité Directivo de la Sociedad Italiana de Urbanismo, miembro del Comité Directivo del Instituto Italiano del Urbanismo y miembro del Comité Directivo de Urban Academy. Es miembro del Comité Científico de la Revista Internacional TRIA, Revista Internacional de Cultura Urbanística. Es miembro del Comité Editorial de la Revista Internacional Monograph y miembro del Comité Editorial de la Revista Internacional EWT. También miembro del Comité Científico de la Revista Internacional Portus Plus, revisión semestral online RETE. Su experiencia en planificación estratégica, urbanismo, regeneración urbana y desarrollo local lo llevó a ser asesor y consultor científico de varios planes y proyectos, entre ellos el Plan Estructural Provincial de Agrigento, el Plan Estructural Provincial de Palermo, el Plan de Paisaje, Particinese, Corleonese y Montischiani. Did I say that well?
Yeah.
Okay, I suppose.
Perfect.
If I didn't, just don't say it. Master Plan de la Central Waterfront y antiguas estaciones de ferrocarril, San Polo, Oli, Notarbartolo, en Palermo, Plan de Movilidad Sostenible de la provincia de Catania, Master Plan y Plan de Ordenamiento Territorial del puerto de Palermo, Plan Estratégico de Escala de Nord, Varese o Fantino, Mapa de riesgos y directrices para los frentes de agua de Catania, Messina, Palermo, Siracusa, Trapani, y estrategias de alineamientos para el Plan Regional de Paisaje, Plan Estructural y Estratégico de la provincia de Potenza, Plan Estratégico de Gran Escala de la provincia de Palermo, Plan Estratégico a Gran Escala de la provincia de Siracusa, Plan Estratégico Metropolitano de Palermo, Plan de Lucania Apeninos, Val d'Agri y Parque Nacional del Logroñese. So you've been involved in almost every development plan of the region. Es autor de varias publicaciones, entre las más recientes Creative City, Governare, L'Evoluzione, Remaining Urbanism, Urban Hyper Metabolism, The Great City Paradigm, which you'll be talking about this in brief, and Territories. Estrategias rural urbanas es uno de los textos escritos por él. Ciudad aumentada, a paradigm shift, dynamics of periphery, futuro, politisch per un diverso presente. Su actividad se desarrolla en la constante integración entre la docencia, la investigación científica y la actividad experimental, centrándose en torno a la dimensión cultural y creativa del desarrollo, la sostenibilidad ecológica y la planificación estratégica. A lo largo de los años ha desarrollado un enfoque personal e internacionalmente reconocido de la planificación urbana y regional que tiene como objetivo el desarrollo de la calidad de vida de las comunidades locales en el equilibrio de las libertades e iniciativas democráticas, promoviendo, nutriendo y configurando la búsqueda de la felicidad creativa, I love that term, y el bienestar de las personas, mejorando la identidad de los lugares. Fue consultor del Ministerio de Infraestructura italiano para preparar el marco estratégico nacional y Proyecto Italia 2020, que trata del Plan General de Infraestructura y Sistemas Urbanos para la competitividad de la economía nacional. Sus trabajos en la plataforma de infraestructura Sicilia Occidental fueron premiados con el Urban INU 2012. Es teórico italiano de la ciudad creativa, sobre el que publicó el libro Ciudad Creativa, Dinámicas, Innovaciones, Acciones, en el que se propone un manifiesto para las ciudades creativas de segunda generación, basado en 3C: cultura, comunicación y cooperación. El escenario de la crisis global ha llevado a la identificación de una tercera generación. Mauricio, I am nothing but amazed of everything I've just read about you. I hope our audience will be very, very interested in hearing everything you have to teach to us. I have just informed everyone that I have asked you to enjoy this event tonight and to have a great time while you are sharing with us how much of a pleasure it is for us to have you here with us. And to put you into some context, this city is a very interesting city in the framework of the Americas. We've been growing economically at a very fast pace, and so much so that Oxford Economics, by the beginning of 2019, published some report that placed us as the fastest growing urban economy of the Americas, growing at a pace of 4.9% annually. That's great news for us, but since we are this host of the economic growth of cities in the continental Americas, we face lots of challenges. Climate change is one of them, poverty, inequality, the quality of investment in the cities, another challenge that we face. We must fight for a culture of informed decisions in public investment. And maybe to your surprise, perhaps, I don't know, we have a huge seafront, an amazing seafront, place to dream about. We call it the Malecón of Santo Domingo. But together with that, we are limited in our east side by a river called Osama River. And in our northern limit, we are surrounded by the Isabela River. So 3/4 of our perimeter are surrounded by water corpse. So we're very interested in hearing your thoughts on sustainable cities that share this quality of having a seafront and being in front of the sea. With nothing else to say, to introduce you and to provide you some brief context, I would love to hear you share with us everything you have in mind.
Thank you so much, Jesus, for the invitation and for this very great introduction, very friendly introduction. I'm very pleased to be with you in order to discuss it, to dialogue among our common ground about the waterfront regeneration, focusing the importance to change our point of view about the traditional waterfront regeneration. If you allow me, I share my screen. Do you see my screen? I hope so.
Yeah, I can see it well.
Perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
good.
So I won't discuss with you about my fluid city paradigm and the Palermo challenge about this. This is my first statement. I believe in this statement and I believe the importance of people in planning processes. This is a quote by William Shakespeare, by Coriolanus. What is the city but the people? True, the people are the city. And in these few words, there is one of the most important, one of the most crucial point of view about my planning activity. The alliance between city and people, between space and society. So, for me, the urban waterfronts are one of the most prolific variants of the creative city. Creative city is a very important keyword about the importance of the development process based on culture and creativity, and the importance of urban regeneration based on creativity. Uh, for me, the waterfront is in the coastal cities are one of the most important, the most vibrant part of the city. Fluid and hybrid location where resources, opportunities, aspiration, and ambition of cities are translated into visions, new relation, and project, of course. So for me, the fluid city, the fluid identity of the city is capable of reactivating new urban metabolism, of generating new architectural forms, of producing new landscapes, and through the permanent flows of the urban culture, of fueling the great relation network, making them more dynamic, communicative, and competitive. In my opinion, the waterfront can be the vanguards of the neo-Anthropocene revolution. We live in the Anthropocene, we know. The Anthropocene is the actual age where the humanity produce a huge ecological footprint on the planet, and the effect is a very lack of resources, of opportunity, of natural metabolism. But I think that we have two ways in order to fight against the Anthropocene. The first our extinction. If the humanity will extinguish themselves, the problems will be solved. But I think there is a second way, a second path. Change our mind and to to live in the neo-Anthropocene revolution. And for me, the neo-Anthropocene revolution is formed by four revolution in action. The first, the network society revolution, the importance of relation, not only relation among people or goods, but relation among ideas, and the relation able to exchange ideas, projects, experimentation like that this night. The second revolution is the knowledge society revolution and the importance of using data, big data, open data, information and knowledge to orient, to lead the planning process and the architectural design process. The third revolution is the climate adaptation revolution, the importance to fight against the climate change. And the fourth revolution, for me, the most important, is the circular metabolism revolution. Our city, our habitat must become more similar to the coral reef, where everything is recycled, everything is in a perfect circular relation. Each species, each component with the other. Well, these are, for me, I think for us, four actual revolution we live. But what is the answer of the traditional urbanism in face of these four revolutions? This is a crucial question. That's nothing. The traditional, the conventional urbanism is unable to answer to those revolutions. So I think we need a paradigm shift. And I define this paradigm shift: augmented city, a city able to be again a enabling platform for the humanity and for the other components of the planet, animal, plants, and the entire environment species. This is my augmented city manifesto that I have the pleasure to share with you. For me, the augmented city is a city more sentient and responsive, open source and collaborative, intelligent and digital oriented, productive and entrepreneurial, creative and culture based, circular and recyclable, resilient and climate proof, fluid and open, reticular and polycentric, and strategic, incremental, and adaptive. So, if we apply the Augmented City Manifesto to the waterfront, to the coastal part of the city, we can see the waterfront as fluid eco-communities. Waterfronts, therefore, are more than the straightforward urban context. They are better described as structural components of cities, frequently part of an urban cluster and the focus of a combined action. They are fluid eco-communities, requiring a wide-ranging strategic action so as to fully exploit cultural, tourist, and productive capitals. What is the fluid city challenge for me, in my opinion? The first is to fight against two false myths about waterfront regeneration. The first false myth is that the waterfront is based on landmarks. No, for me, it's an idol. This vision is based on idolatry of the landmark. The second false myth is that the waterfront lives of events, but I think that the big events focused on the waterfront are like a drug. So we must change the point of view and our mindset about it. This is the reason for I wrote this book, The Fluid City Paradigm, where I define the components of the fluid city paradigm. How is possible to plan and design the whole city as a fluid city, and not only a city that is composed by a waterfront part. First, in order to define what is a fluid city, I prefer define what is not a fluid city in order to define the perimeter of our reflection. First, the fluid city is not only a line, but is an interface between several lines, the water line, but also the landscape line, the building lines, or the mountain lines, and so on. Second, the fluid city, it's not only a port area, but it's also composed by manufacturing, by housing, by public space, and so on. Third, the fluid city, the water in the fluid city approach, the waterfront is not a closed and protected place, but is an open space inhabits by several kind of people, several kind of cultures. The waterfront is not an institutional place, the part of the city managed by the port authority or by the municipality. No, the waterfront is a part of the life of the city. It's not separable from the stone city. Yes, of course, we are focused on the water components of the city, but the water component of the city are allied with the stone component of the city. A waterfront is not only a local node, but is a part of a wide range, a planetary network of relation, of fluxes of goods, peoples, and so on. But it's not only a transport node, is also a part is composed by beach, by marinas, by pathway, or by some fishery, and so on. It's not only a leisure place. This is important. In most part of the Mediterranean waterfront, but I think in Santo Domingo too, the waterfront is composed by a portual machine, is a portual activity that need safety and security for their works. It's not only a functional mix of activity, but the waterfront needs for a holistic approach, able to act into the relation among the several parts of the city. It's not only past. The waterfront for me means future, means vision, means the ability to dream the city of the future. But it's not only future. Often in the waterfront we find a lot of monuments, and building, castle, wall, and so on. So I think that doesn't exist a single waterfront, the waterfront, but we have a lot of waterfront, so many waterfront, how many kind, how many declination, how many aspects of city we have. So in order to plan, to design the waterfront, I found 4 relationships for a fluid city. The first is the liquid relationship, characterized by the prevalence of a coastal identity represented by a landscape where the coastal nature is the mainstream of the waterfront. And in this part, in the liquid port, we have a low interaction between sea and city. The second relationship is the fluid relationship that is associated with sailing, cultural and leisure facilities, and accommodation. The fluid waterfront is immersed and intertwined with urban structure, characterized by marinas and cultural and leisure services, and strictly connected to the city. The third variant is the porous relationship, namely an area for cruise ships and passengers enjoying close ties with the city and transport system. This type of port is characterized by a large porous area in permanent transformation that acts as a link between the port activities itself, dedicated to the passenger, and new cultural, residential, and commercial activities related to the quality of the waterfront. It manifests a high degree of interaction between the port and the city. This is one of the most important, one of the most vibrant part of the waterfront. The fourth variant foresees a rigid relationship, inaccessible to the public, and thus enabling the harbor to work to full capacity, the port machine, able to guarantee security and safety, high pressure on the city caused by the productive activities. This is the scheme. This is a sample scheme that is able to represent the different pressure of the liquid port, the rigid port, the fluid, the porous, the fluid and the liquid, in relation with the city, and the different level of population that interacts with this different kind of port. And for me, this is a simple but fruitful scheme in order to adapt our design, our urban design tools, because when we act in the porous port, we have to manage, we have to plan not only a high level interaction between port and city, but also a high level interaction with a lot of people, a lot of interests, a lot of stakeholders. So now I want to show you some experiment in Palermo Fluid City, because Palermo was one of my first experiment of the partner. This is the central part of the Palermo waterfront. This is the historical center of Palermo, where the waterfront is strictly connected with the city. And this is the south part of the waterfront. In the middle of the image there is a port, and in the bottom of the image there is a more leisure oriented part of the waterfront. This is the ancient harbor, the old harbor. And the first step of the master plan for the waterfront was to define the different level of governance of the coastal ecosystem. Because in Italy, we have a lot of institutional competence on the waterfront. Municipality, the province, the region, the state, the European Union, and each component, each institutional actors manage a part of the waterfront without an overall view about the same ecosystem. So the first step was to define three levels of ecosystem, and in particular on the coastal ecosystem, we act to integrate seven type of a planning tool in order to have a integrated strategic plan on the waterfront. And this is the first, the previous relation that we have found, we found a line that separate the port authority competence and the municipality competence. And in a part we have the port master plan, and in the other part we have the city master plan, and in another part the coastal land use plan managed by the region. Municipality, region, and port authority that manage it, a specific part of the same waterfront. So the waterfront was a land of conflict, a space of conflict. And for us, the first result was to pass it to this vision, the waterfront as a common ground for different institutions, but also for different communities, with a plan, with an integrated plan, able to manage the port authority competence, the municipality competence, and the region competence. It wasn't easy. It was a 10 years process in order to define, in order to turn the agreement between the different parts and different competence. But we achieve the goal, the objective, to define a fluid metabolism in order to reshape several parts of the city in order to strengthen a better relation between the urban activity and the harbor and the waterfront activity. In the field of culture, what I call the metabolism of talents. In the field of infrastructure, of course, green infrastructure, slow infrastructure, and fast infrastructure. In the field of mobility, of course, but also in the field of integration. In Palermo, the waterfront is the principal space of the multicultural integration. Along the waterfront, several kinds of religions, of culture, of people use the waterfront space as a common ground for their everyday activity. Or the metabolism of performing art, often located along the waterfront. So the fluid Palermo, for me, is the transformation, is the slash from the waterfront, the blue line, the traditional waterfront, to the fluid city. In our vision, Palermo Fluid City the Palermo Fluid City is planned the entire city, not only the coastal part of the city. And one of the most important action was the reshape of the relation between the water and the mountain that identify the Palermo landscape. This is our first result, the strategic plan for Palermo municipality that defined the waterfront as the first objective of the future of Palermo, a sort of new main pathway, main line of the new Palermo, where a lot of new centrality could be linked and enhanced. The second step was the identification of the interface space, the space of interface port and city, able to act as a pilot project for the regeneration of the city and not only of the waterfront. And the third result was the master plan for the new port. This is an old image of the port, where the relation between the historical building and the water was without border, without barrier, without fragmentation, with a perfect combination of built environment and water environment. This is another traditional image of the relation of Palermo with the water, with the sea. This is the plan, and another important part for us, in order to involve people, other institutions, and the economic sector, was the simulation of the improvement of value in order in relation with the transformation of the waterfront. And this is a graph that showed the new real estate value connected with the improvement of the city port interface. This is an estimation of the port value when the new cruise cruise shipment part of the waterfront was improved, or the improvement of touristic value of the city in relation with the improvement of the service for the tourist port, for the marinas, and the improvement of the ecological value, because in Palermo the waterfront is an important part of the ecological network of the city. And the method was a balanced mixing of technical approach, of course, and participation approach, a sort of open source waterfront, where several kind of people, technicians, decision maker, but also students, artists, or workers in the maritime economy, were involved in several meetings in order to define their needs, their proposal, and in order to choose the best solution. And we use a lot of communication approach, a sort of waterfront marketing about the population. This is some sketch of our open source manifesto. One of the statements of the manifesto was zero boundaries, in order to eliminate any barriers between the city and the water. Another statement was zero waterproofing, in order to improve the resilience of the coastal part of the city. The third statement was zero cars. We are going to improve the pedestrian activity, the cycling activity along the waterfront. And in 2018 was launched an international competition based on the master plan of the waterfront that aimed to bring people along the sea, facilitating the use of the port, of the waterfront, for the everyday life activity. This was one of the results. This is a marina with an archaeological park, with a urban laguna, with the new cruise terminal, the new interface, and waterfront, harbor, and the city are again the same hybrid space with a high potential for the city. This is some sketch of the winner of the winner project. This is the new terminal, cruise terminal. But we plan not only the central waterfront of the city, but there in Palermo there is another big challenge: the regeneration of the southern coast, a peripheral coast of the city. This is the southern coast of Palermo. In the top of the image there is the all the harbor and the port, and this is a very important part, because in this part the water is linked not only with the building, but also with the nature, with the agriculture, with the landscape. And we analyze the relation among several kinds of centrality, the importance of porosity of this part, in order to image a lot of tactical urbanism, a lot of tactics able to stimulate a self-regeneration of the area. It was easy to act on the waterfront because the economic multiplier of the central waterfront is higher than this part. In this part, we have not a lot of money. We have not a lot of active economics, but we try to use a lot of this sparkle design, sparkle project, in order to reactivate the area. This is some image. We use some energy devices. We use the importance of peripheral agricultural, blue infrastructure, new manufacturing, and so on. This is one of the other part, the importance of the agriculture and the relation between agriculture and waterfront. And this is some project about the importance to stimulate the nature, but also the social innovation of the district, or the importance to use the water in order to activate some energy produce self-sufficient producer of energy. So, concluding, for Palermo, the reconquest of the sea is above all a great cultural, social, and political goal, and therefore it's a human challenge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Mauricio. It was very, very interesting to learn about this amazing project that you have been carrying out together with many others that we had the opportunity to read about at the beginning. And I personally have two questions to be able to better understand what you went through during your consultation work. In what aspects did you feel supported by the community in the strongest way, and in the opposite too? What were the main objections of the community during the process of planning and problem identifying in the course of the work?
Yes, the first step was very hard because during the past 30 years, the citizen of Palermo rejected the waterfront. considering it a bad part of the city, not useful for the development of the city. Only in the past 15 years, the waterfront come back to be an important part of the city. But it wasn't a easy process in reappropriation of this identity. We we try to bring back people to live in the waterfront, because our actual challenge is to reshape the waterfront as a living part of the city, not only a economic part of the city or transport part of the city. We want to bring back the people to live naturally along the waterfront. And this is for us one of the crucial points of the regeneration of the waterfront. A place to live, not a place to use for cultural, social, economic, transportation use, but a place to live every day with recovering the relation between the city and the water. Do you remember that you have to remember that Palermo, from the Greek panormos, means all port. So the port is a part of the identity of Palermo itself in our history. We want to recover this identity between water, between the port and the city. We have used a lot the school activity, the student activity, not only the meeting with the stakeholders, of course.
When you mentioned that the people didn't have a great impression, a great memory of the seaside, it resonated with me because here we have a similar cultural understanding of the seafront, but we have historic causes for it. Most of our invasions came from the sea.
Yeah.
Wars came from the sea. Hurricanes come from the sea.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So there's a cultural detachment from the territories nearby the sea for many reasons, including that. Is it similar in Palermo?
Yes, of course. In some period from the seaside arrived the conqueror of the city, but now the city is a part of the new economy of the city, able to be a part of its prosperity, not only by the cruises or by the passenger ships, but because a lot of activity come back to the waterfront,
That's great.
related with leisure, related with hospitality, related with the wellness, and so on.
And has this project already been implemented?
Yes.
Start and
Yes,
how?
by the Port Authority. The Port Authority is the main actor in with the relation with the municipality and the other, but the main actor, the actuator of the project is the Port Authority.
That's great.
He believe very a lot in the project.
That's amazing. And how is it going so far? How are people embracing the new image of the seafront, and how are the prices behaving of property next to these
Yes,
improved
yes, yes,
areas?
yes. A lot of buildings are restored by the
Good.
private using the leverage of the rent of the new value. Is a circular process. activated by the Port Authority, managed by the municipality, but actuated by the citizen, by the owner, by the cruise company.
And what aspects do you think are transcendent in terms when we talk about the development of seafronts? Of course, there are many aspects that are contextual, but what would you think are those that transcend from one scenario to another one?
Yes, I think that could be useful for the translation of the approach, the capability to distinguish the different kind of port, from the rigid port to through the porous port to the fluid port. I think could be important using the same methodology to define the different white or the different pressure on the waterfront. Doesn't exist one waterfront, a medium level of waterfront, but a waterfront is an interface with different kind of relation. Could be a little line, or could be a big part of the city with a lot of pressure and with a lot of conflict. So I think that the governance of the waterfront, it's in Italy, is a crucial point. A common governance of the waterfront. It's not only a technical problem. It's technical too, of course, but it's also a political problem.
If you had to start a conversation or participate in a conversation with community members of a faraway city that has a seafront, and you had the chance to address them about the importance of their seafront, what would you rather say? What arguments would you use to help them appreciate this amazing piece of limit that they have in front of the sea? And what would your words be? Community members, not people with high level of technifications, but in very simple words, what would the narrative be?
Open source. I think that the keywords is open source. The ability of several and different kind of people and of professional and institution to coding together and design together and planning together. The waterfront, it's impossible to be a competence of one part of one institution. The waterfront is a perfect open source space of the city. Is the most open of the city, but open not only in the physical sense, but open in the technological sense. A lot of people that code and recode, that hack and recode the waterfront without a single point of view or a single action, but several level of action, several time of action. We need tactical and strategies.
How long did it take?
Jesus, I miss you.
Since the very day you started making the consultation till the very day you delivered the final information.
I lost The final part of your question.
Oh. I was wondering, how long did it take for you and your team to do the whole work of consultation to the population and the other actors?
Yes, the
And you
all
deliver.
the process is 10 years of work, or 12 years of work,
Whoa!
with the involvement of in the first part 50, 50 people, 50 people, and at the end more than 100.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. But
Congratulations.
it was important, the involvement of the university, of the school, and a lot of citizen community, citizens that empower their responsibility in order to the waterfront. Now there is a lot of association related to the improvement and the regeneration of the water, of the waterfront.
That's great, and it makes me think that it's a responsible number. It's difficult to think of shorter terms that could cause greater impacts in the society. It's
Yeah,
a generational
yeah,
time lapse. It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting to have these.
For us, another challenge was to measure the impact of the activity in order to demonstrate the the results of the project.
Great. That's great.
Measuring the different kind of impact on the different field of impact: social, cultural, economical, environmental, and so on.
It's very interesting. We just finished a couple of years ago a significant improvement to the most frequented site of our seafront, about 3 kilometers of improvements, and we still have some challenges ahead to connect the population to the seafront. Some are cultural, but some are related to our street design. We've been implementing design strategies which are more recommended for highways right in the middle of the city. And this is a challenge to overcome too. And since gradually we have turned our seafront street, which is the Malecón of Santo Domingo, into a highway, we have been heavily dividing and separating the seafront area from the rest of the city. And of course, you combine that with our cultural understanding of the seafront. So we have an integral range of areas to work in order to bring the population closer to the seafront and to make everybody understand that this is an amazing prerogative and privilege that we all have here.
Do you use also gamification process? Or
Yeah,
not? Yeah.
in the stages of participation for building plans of development, there's a plurality of resources that we've been implementing. Some have to do with gamified actions and strategies with focus groups. Some other are more related to traditional inquiries on how people process and understand the challenges, the most important challenges to their own point of view that the city poses. And then the most important features of the ideal city, the ideal Santo Domingo to the participants' eye. And then what kind of solutions or projects could take us from A to B. That's another way to generate information. to be able to plan. But it's been a great experience for me personally, both as a professional of planning and architecture, and as a public servant. And our students have also been into this amazing experience of learning how you, as a first line professional of planning, have been dealing with the planning stages, and what kind of solutions you have been bringing over the table, and what kind of premises have you been using. Many people would not depart from the same premises, and therefore would not be having the same end results. You see a problem in a city that is not facing the sea, and that's a premise. There's a problem. People should be facing the sea.
In Santo Domingo, who is the main actor, the Port Authority or the municipality?
Well, the municipality has the competences of administering the seafront of the city, mainly. Of course, we share expenses, but it's mainly the municipality.
And
I have a question here from one of our top students, Ms. Natalia Rizek. She says, currently, said highway serves as a barrier, making it harder for people to enjoy the waterfront, a safe public space. This is much more of a reflection she's expressing, and that's true.
yeah.
Santo Domingo Malecón, the street running parallel to the coast.
Yeah. In Palermo too, it was one of our first challenge.
Oh, great.
To reduce the use of the not an highway, but a principal street along the seaside. Yes, we reduced the traffic and the congestion of the street in order to eliminate a barrier between the city and the waterfront.
And what kind of narrative did you present to those that thought that it was an advantage to have a highway running through the city? What
kind of
answer did you provide to those who thought that it was a good idea to have a highway running through the city?
Yeah. And we made a deviation of the traffic, and we are going to design to plan a new highway, a subway, in order to eliminate from the ground, and in order to reconnect the relation between the city and the waterfront and the seaside.
That's very interesting, and that's actually another parallel to our situation here. We have started investing in public transportation a bit more than what we have been traditionally been spending the last 10, 15 years. And we face this challenge of migrating from private transportation to public transportation, and making our streets safer, and making people realize how important it is and how advantageous it is not to speeding inside the city's limits. I think our conversation tonight has put many other factors over the table that we should be thinking about. And one of the most important to me are related to time lapse and the periods of times that this could be taken in order for us to see true change, to be able to measure change.
Yeah.
Mauricio, thank you very much. I know it's
thank you, thank you, Jesus, for the fruitful discussion. I hope to to come to Santo Domingo, and I
Yeah.
hope to host you in Palermo.
Yeah, you owe me a great Dominican coffee zipping here. And
we can try to arrange a common workshop between our students about the waterfront, exchanging the experience of our students.
That's right, and that could happen as soon as this coming summer, if you are willing and it's possible for you in Palermo too. We could arrange the team here, and you could work arranging the team back there, and we could establish
Perfect.
Terms of reference. It would be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Perfect.
Well, thank you again, Mauricio.
Thank you.
I'm indebted with you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you soon. Thank you.